Seattle is number one in copper thieves stealing the electric cords at EV stations. Number one in the nation. Let's watch a quick video. Here we go.
The app's looking for charging places, and I did see in the app a bunch of places where all these cords are cut.
If you catch it on the app before you head out, it's annoying, but you can avoid Northgate stations out of commission due to vandalism. Rolling up surprised to find all but one station has been hacked up, that is a serious inconvenience.
So it's broken every charging station. I don't know if...
This driver told me he just experienced the same issue down in South Center.
They rely on these chargers to be able to drop their kids off, to get to work, to live their lives.
Right now, these stations at University Village, run by Electrify America, are literally collecting cobwebs. Repairs cost thousands, and criminals aren't letting up.
Unfortunately, the theft of charging connected cables is on the rise.
Rachel Moses spoke with me on behalf of Electrify America. They've got a vast network of these stations, 950 chargers across the U.S. and Canada. 250,000 people plug into their devices each week. They say out of everywhere they serve.
Worst hit has been within Seattle in the state of Washington, followed by Nevada and California. There is a very negative impact on our customers.
Data they've collected shows over the past year, there were 90 incidents of cable theft citywide.
The amount of times that our stations were hit in the Seattle area, in Washington broadly, was double what we saw in all of 2023.
Double. We have got some dedicated, drug-addicted, homeless individuals whacking those copper lines, don't we?
It's gotten so bad, they've created this heat map to pinpoint locations thieves target most. You'll see one spot in Georgetown has been hit up an astonishing 50 times.
We're working very closely with the local law enforcement to cut down on this pattern that we've seen.
Electrify America has installed lighting and cameras too, capturing footage like this. In it, we see a group of culprits at work, snipping away with bolt cutters, throwing the copper-rich cords into their trunk and taking off. Same method used in this video too. The State Department of Ecology reports it's been a record year for EV ownership. Nearly 170,000 registered in 2023, seeing an impressive increase of 43% for plug-in sales compared to the year before. The need for these stations is great.
It's really the customers that are impacted as they think about their travel over the holiday break and where they're going to be able to reroute their charging plan.
One woman who rolled up here forced to wait for the only working outlet told me she feels at this point she's just got to charge it at home, even though it's not as fast as a process as what she can accomplish here. And she points out not everybody has a garage where they can do it. They don't want to do it outside. I also reached out to the Pierce County Sheriff's Office and to Bellevue Police to see if this trend was happening there as well. Both of them told me not really. So for the time being, it appears the worst of it is here in Seattle. Reporting in Seattle.
So, super interesting that Pierce County, which is to the south, which has Tacoma, maybe they don't have as many EV stations. Pierce County doesn't seem to me like that's land of EV, electric vehicles just in general. So Seattle, I think Seattle, somebody sent out the memo to all the homeless encampments and said, hey, you can get about $20 for one of those big long cords. It's got a lot of copper in it. Actually doesn't have that much copper. And that's why it's like $20 a pop. So thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars are being spent repairing these things. And the guys just come by and like we saw, whack it with the clippers and away you go. You got a little bit of drug money for your next hit, right? Now, the map that you saw on that video, that indicated, I'm going off memory here. I didn't want to stop the video, but you've got kind of a University of Washington district charging station there. That was getting hit a bunch. The Georgetown station, that's kind of South Seattle. It's in a tougher area. You had one that was kind of lower Queen Anne, close to downtown Seattle. That one, that makes sense. These are all located in areas where you've got homeless folks that are whacked out on drugs, can walk and hit these stations. Now, here in Bellevue, we just don't have as many of the homeless here because the police basically say, hey, What kind of help can we get you? You want us to take you to a shelter? Because you can't stay here. You can't tent up here. Can't do it. It's a no-go. So, it was interesting with that Pierce County and Bellevue statement. Is it happening there? Not really. And I haven't read many instances of that happening. In Seattle, all day long. You betcha. Let's take a peek at this article and see what else we've got here. So, hot spot for the theft of EV charging cords, which are rich in copper. Electrify America reported that a single station in Georgetown had 50 cables. 50. I mean, they know this is if you build it, they will come, right? If you build it, they will come. And we have covered this in Los Angeles as well. These things just getting destroyed, or homeless people just posting up tents in front of the charging stations. People drive by going, I don't think I want to stay. I don't want to park here and risk my car getting broken into. A little bipping action while I'm charging up the vehicle. So they just kind of pass on by. These are things that I think folks haven't figured out, that, you know what, electric vehicles, okay, if that's the road you're going to go down, you've got some other variables that you don't have with gas powered. Remember that antiquated fossil fuel concept? You don't have that issue because you got gas stations everywhere. And what folks going down the electric vehicle, I think, really hone in on is, well, you want to get a charger for your home garage. Not everybody has a home garage. Not everybody lives in an apartment complex where that's a thing, in a condo, whatever. A lot of folks don't have access to basically covering their car at all. So what are they going to do? Well, I got to check my app, and then I got to go drive there. And maybe when I get there, the cables are cut. Not exactly a huge sales pitch for electric vehicles, is it? No. Yeah. So some of the things that I've read are that you've got bus stations where the buses can park over an electric deal. And, it's kind of like putting your your phone on a wireless charger. Okay. And I get that connection and don't have to plug anything in. Or in Europe, car owners, so you can bring your own set of cables around. These are pretty thick, hefty cables, and that's been popular in Europe. Maybe some of that will start to happen here. But in the meantime, you've got these charging stations run by Electrifying America, and they're just targets. Oh, hey, did you hear they got the cables reinstalled at the University Village? One in Seattle. Let's go there. Let's jack those cables. We can get $20 a pop. Why not? It'll take us an hour to walk there. We got nothing better to do. Do a little drugs along the way. Yeah, it's good times. Electrify America operates a vast network of 950 charging stations with 4,250 individual chargers. They're seeing the most in Seattle over California and Nevada. Seattle. Why is that? Well, Seattle's gone kind of ham on the EV thing. It's like, this is great. It's the greatest thing. Hey, wait a minute. They're cutting all the cables. What's up with that? Yeah. Drug money, because you progressives in Seattle, you've, made Seattle a real stop along the drug and homeless tourism along the West Coast. So, and you know what? It was interesting in more research for this. This is mainly a West Coast deal. Taking your clippers, whacking that little section of cable, right? And why is that? Well, because we've allowed drug tourism to be a thing. Bunch of homeless people, we're going to hand out tents, give you everything but the drugs to do them. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? This is what goes wrong. Yeah, didn't really think that one through. Yeah, that Georgetown one with 51 incidents? All right, more cables have been cut, guys. Electrify America has installed lighting and cameras to deter thieves, capturing footage of culprits using bolt cutters to snip the copper-rich cords and flee. You know what? Police have their hands full. We've been over it a million times. How few cops there are in Seattle. This is not going to be placed at the high emphasis of what they're going to be looking at. All right, George, you got to get over. There's been another copper cable cut. We need you to go check that out. No, No, they're taking reports of people getting murdered. You know, maybe if you're lucky, they'll show up for your home invasion robbery. Yeah, you don't have enough cops. You have fewest cops on the streets of Seattle since 1958. Yeah. Population now, 2024, around 800,000. Population back then, little less than 500,000. So you got a massive 300,000 person increase, and you got effectively the same number of police. So, that whole defund the police thing, it worked. Didn't really happen in Seattle. They defunded it a little bit, mainly got rid of vacant positions. But the whole concept, it's the mentality towards policing in Seattle is horrible. They just think, police are out murdering people. They're not. I mean, you look at the statistics, they're not. That is not happening. You've got a case every now and then of something like that going on. But you got a lot more cases right now of illegal immigrants coming into the United States, raping and killing women. You got a lot of those. I mean, you're seeing those just about every single day in the media. Well, not mainstream media, but the stories are out there, right? It's like, oh, good Lord, that's another one of those happened. Shh, don't tell anybody. Maybe we'll get through the election and have this happen. So I don't know if you've been following, but I've definitely been following the fallout from President Biden's debate. What a debacle. What a debacle. You got everybody saying, you know what? You know what I say? Let's get an independent 2-3 people to do cognitive analysis of the president. Have him take one of those tests. Let's see how he does. Why don't we do that? Why don't we just fix it once and for all? What's wrong with that? I mean, there are definitely some issues. They're trying to tell us he had a cold. Like, no, we're not buying that because, we beat Medicare. I'm sorry. What? You did what? How? What'd you do? Crazy, crazy stuff. Is it as crazy as the EV stations being rocked by the fentanyl addicted homeless population? Yeah, right. I mean, these are issues where it's like, what did you think would happen? Because the minute these folks realize there's a little bit of money to be made, little criminal activity, you're not going to get caught in Seattle for something like this. It's just not happening. They're just not. I mean, it's not high priority. State Department of Ecology reports a record for EV ownership. Don't really care. 43% increase from the previous year. How is that working out? Because sales have dipped substantially, right? And car companies, trying to get all those governmental incentives. I just don't see it happening. I mean, long term, yeah, I think slowly you're going to see more and more folks go that route. But so much of this stuff, the whole electric car thing, it's basically people with a lot of money, virtue signaling people, because you can't really go that far. So you need to have at least 2 cars if you're going to go travel any kind of distance. Here in Washington State, you can't make a full trip to Eastern Washington and back on without having to figure out a charging station. You get out to that charging station and it's toast. What are you going to do? Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I guess we got to walk. We got to get an Uber and figure something out here. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So until this gets, I kind of see the electric vehicle thing as a novelty concept. Hey, no more gasoline. Yeah, but when you got to look at an app, you don't have to look at an app to find a gas station. You just drive around a little bit. Hey, there's one. Let's go get some gas. Now, and some might say, well, that's horrible for the climate and the emissions. Carbon emissions are terrible. Yeah, but if you can't charge up your car, what's the point? And that's what we're seeing a lot of. And so we're working closely with local law enforcement to cut down on this pattern that how? What are you doing? But I can't speculate on what exactly is driving that. There's nothing you can do about this. You've let a bunch of whacked out addicts who are criminals and are living on the streets in tents. You've allowed them to make this story a reality. That's literally what you've got going on. And then you've probably got a whole nother you've got another elevated level of criminal activity. This is just what they do. Yeah, the same ones that do the dash and grab of, retail theft. This is just part and parcel of that. But, Seattle being numero uno in the country, it's not shocking at all. I mean, this is, what did you think would happen? Well, we thought they'd leave the EV stations alone because these whacked out criminals, they understand that there's a climate crisis going on, and they understand that they need to leave the EV charging stations alone. Right? I mean, what did you think would happen? This is Seattle. Yeah, we got some issues. Good stuff going on in Seattle as well. Don't get me wrong. 4th of July here was epic. We actually had sunshine and it was approaching like 80. It was great. It was great. But, a lot of times when I'm out hanging out in Seattle, it's fun and games when the sun's out. But knowing that all this other ridiculousness, I was within where I hung out for 4th of July. I would have been, a mile and a half away from the EV station in Queen Anne. So you just got a lot of that silliness going on. And it's not shocking. It's not shocking at all. I mean, you walk around some of those areas and you go, okay, all right, yeah, tent, graffiti all over. Looks like a third world country. Oh, I am shocked that they are clipping those EV wires. It just makes absolute sense, right? All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.